In the first Ready for Anything video, we talked about how to make sure your syllabus is organized and how you can use your syllabus as a guiding document to help you lay out your Canvas class. And we also talked about a number of different scenarios that could happen. So, before the pandemic, we had snow days. And, if you were teaching a lecture class and it was a snow day or there was too much snow for you to get into the college, then oftentimes we would have to put videos out online for professors sort of in an emergency situation. And so think about that for a second. Think about the possibility that for fall there could be more days like snow days. They're depending upon the pandemic and the virus and what's going on there, we may be in a situation where we have to be super flexible to go in between modalities. So that's why we're going through this exercise. And I would argue, pandemic or not, it's just a good thing for your students, and it promotes student learning if all of the documents and all the content they need are accessible online and are accessible from their phone, which is the way everybody looks at their online class anyway. So whether you accept that or not, that's the reality, and we need to be ready for that regardless. So with that in mind, what we were talking about last time is I was spending probably way too much time on this course schedule, and I'm not going to say another thing about it, but again, it's so important to have this organized, and I think as we go through the next steps of this video series, you'll start to understand why. So there's a number of different scenarios here. If we have a totally empty shell, this is a great way to lay it out. If we have a shell that has existing content in it, maybe we have an old junky course that we've needed to refresh for a long time, we can use the same method for refreshing and layout as we would if it's an empty shell. So regardless of whether you've inherited something that's kind of funky, or you have an old worn out class, or you have a totally empty shell, this idea will work for you. But I'm going to show it to you in a relatively empty class, and then we'll talk about how you might do the same thing with your existing course. So the first thing I want to do is let's go to a course, and I've already done some work on this to save us some time during the video. And what we see here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the modules page. And regardless of whether I'm building a course, refreshing a course, I go to the modules page first, and that's where I start because it gets us in the mindset of organizing properly. So the first thing we're going to do is we look at this modules page, and we see there are some old modules here. So if this is maybe an existing course, I'm building new right on top of the old. But for the purposes of this video, let me just delete these modules. I don't need them. And I just want to kind of go through the design with you. Delete. And I'm also going to delete this module 1 real quick so we can start over again. Okay, so forget about these other modules on the screen, but look at this course schedule. So the first thing I want to do, and this is a little thing, but it's so important to students, is I want to make sure the names match between the module and the module number. Again, seems ridiculous, but it's really important to have a theme every week or every 2 weeks or however long your modules are, and make the theme the title. So if it is the digestive system, if it's acid pH balance, if it's the Affordable Care Act, regardless of what it is, you want to try to name your modules something relevant to what you're teaching. Seems really basic, but some people have week 1, and that's it. And students logically need to kind of group things. So I suggest having it laid out this way. It's helpful to everybody. So I'm looking at this course schedule. I have this course, and it could be any course, and I just want to make sure that these modules line up. So the first thing I do, and if this is an empty shell, it's really easy. I just go here. I know I need a module 1 called Introductions. I already had it typed in. I'll add it, and we're looking at it saying, ooh, where did it go? Well, we know when we add a new module to Canvas, it goes down to the bottom. So, oh, sorry, I didn't click right. So I'm just going to add it up. Oh, I'm adding up the wrong one. See, this happens. Let me just move module 1 up. So the point is, I've created a new empty module that aligns perfectly with everything on my course schedule. Really easy. So if you have a junky class that's got 16 old modules in it now, that's fine. Start to create new modules unpublished underneath your old modules to help you get organized. All we've done here is created these empty modules, these empty shells, and a good way to think about these are as file folders. So if a student walked in the first day of class in a lecture class, you could, in this instance, theoretically, you would give them 8 file folders, 8 manila file folders. One would say introductions, one would say current state of affairs, one would say what were the founders thinking, and in those file folders it would have a document that's a quiz, a document that's a reading, a document that's a video. Again, just a metaphor to help you understand what modules are, why we lay them out the way we do. They are logical containers for learning objects or assessments. Assessments in this instance mean things that I grade, whether I assess an essay, assess a quiz, assess a discussion post. So modules hold learning objects. And in this really easy lesson, we just made sure that our course schedule on our syllabus matched this new module layout that we have in our shell, regardless of whether it was an empty shell or an existing one. For the next lesson, we're going to talk about what to do next.